Hey everyone, before we start the show, I just want to get some plugs out of the way. If you enjoy this podcast and you're into wrestling, check out the Nerds and Marks podcast or Marty and Sarah Love Wrestling. If you're not getting your fill on movie and entertainment discussion, then check out the Entertainment Buffet podcast. If you want to dive into the world of video games, I highly recommend the Darkcast by my friends over at darkstation.com. Listen to them cover important topics and interview men and women from all over the industry. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Hello everyone and welcome to today's shelved mini episode. I am your host, Jeremy Meyer. So we don't have a lot to discuss on this week's mini episode. So I just want to get a little bit of business out of the way. Honestly, this Friday, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to be talking about. It's probably not going to be a script episode. It's probably going to be one of these alternative style episodes that I've been talking about, either a commentary track or a movie pitch episode. But I think it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know which one I'm going to have yet, but I will tell you next week is the week I am so excited for. I've been waiting for this episode pretty much since I came up with this idea, but me and my wife are going to sit down and do a commentary track for Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. Basically the first Star Wars movie. We're not doing Episode 1. But yeah, she's never seen Star Wars, and she married one of the biggest Star Wars fans, so it's one of those things. She's seen Episode 7, Rogue One, because those are the new ones, and I dragged her to the theater with me, but she slept through both of those and doesn't really know anything about Star Wars. So I think it'd be fun if we're going to sit down, I'm going to ask her some questions just to find out her base level knowledge of Star Wars and see where she's standing, and then we're going to watch the movie and do a commentary track, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun. But that's going to be next week. This week, I'm not really sure which one we're going to be doing, but just be sure to tune in and find out. So the rest of this episode is going to be dedicated to a spoiler discussion on Wonder Woman. Now, I saw the movie with my wife, and I wanted to do a review with her, like right after we saw it, but she just wasn't really feeling up to podcasting. But finally, this weekend, she was ready to do it. So we sat down, and I know it's a little past when Wonder Woman came out, but the movie's still in theaters. It's still breaking box office records. It's now officially the highest grossing movie directed by a woman, which the movie deserves 100%. So we sat down and kind of talked about Wonder Woman, and we actually dip a little bit into Suicide Squad because we actually saw that one together. And I wanted to talk to her about it because, for one, she was the person I watched the movie with, but two, she's not a fan of like superhero stuff, but over the last year, she's a teacher, so she works with a lot of kids, and the kids are into superhero stuff, and she kind of learns about it through them, and she's been wanting to just learn more about it and find it more interesting. And she's a woman, so I figured her opinion and perspective would be a lot more valuable than mine. So we sit down, and we have actually a fairly long discussion about Wonder Woman and a little bit of Suicide Squad, and just kind of some other superhero stuff that she's come in contact with over the years. And it was actually a really fun discussion. This is one of my favorite podcasts me and her have ever done. And I think it's only going to be topped by the Star Wars commentary that we do next week. So be sure to listen to this episode. And, if you want to know a little more about how our feelings on Wonder Woman, we get more into it than I've covered on the show previously, but do beware, there is some spoiler stuff. We don't go super deep, but deep enough that some stuff would be ruined for you if you haven't seen the movie yet. Or, if you just don't care, go ahead and take a listen. But just be warned, there are spoilers from this point on. So thank you for listening to today's episode. Please come back and check out next week's episode. I think that one's going to be one of the best episodes of this podcast ever. But today's my birthday, so I think I should point that out, because I think for my birthday, you should go and leave an iTunes review. I think that would be the way you could help the podcast the most. Just go there, leave a 5-star review, tell your friends, let people know about the podcast. Like, let's bring in more listeners, and maybe people listen, submit more questions, and we can get some more discussion going with the community. Like, I really want to do that stuff. Oh, and before I go, I do want to cover a couple topics that I missed on last Friday's half-year review. And I want to recommend some episodes, because I know every episode could be somebody's first episode. So I thought I would recommend some of my favorite podcast episodes to new listeners if you want to find out what the show's about. I would obviously say go listen to the episode 0 or the episode 1 and get a little hint there. But I'm going to recommend my favorite episodes. So the first one I would recommend is Power Rangers, which is the most downloaded episode of the show. So that one must have something that people really like. And it was a really fun one to record. I would also recommend 2 superhero ones. The Batman Superman episode, which is pretty recent. And the Superman Lives episode, which is one of my favorites. Those are all really good ones to start with. I would also recommend the Star Wars, which was based on George Lucas's Star Wars rough draft. That was maybe one of my favorite ones to do because there's not many Star Wars options for this podcast, so it's worth checking out if you want to hear some alternative Star Wars stuff. And the last one I would recommend is probably Spider-Man. That was a really fun one, and we are going to be doing another Spider-Man episode coming up, so I think the first one is a good place to start to prepare for the one that's going to drop on the 7th when Spider-Man Homecoming comes out. I believe it's the 7th. I don't have the date right in front of me. But yeah, be sure to check out those episodes and leave an iTunes review as a happy birthday to me. So if you really like the show, I would appreciate that. And as always, you can follow us on the social medias at Twitter and Instagram at Shelved Podcast. And you can email the show at shelvedfilmpodcast@gmail.com. So if you have any questions or comments, you can send them on there. But yeah, this Friday, going to be a surprise episode. Next Friday, Star Wars commentary. I think you guys are going to really like it, so be sure to come back, and thanks for listening. Just remember to speak clearly. I can always increase the volume levels, but it's easier when you speak like this.
Okay.
I don't know how to start.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while since we've seen the movie.
Yeah.
We saw it opening weekend.
Was it opening weekend?
Opening weekend, yeah. So that was June 2nd. And it's now the 25th. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Do you remember a lot of the movie?
I believe so. Yeah. I just didn't go into the movie thinking I was going to like it. I literally walked in thinking, like, okay, nap time.
Yeah.
You
Which
dragged
is how
me
I
there
felt when we saw Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
And I think you had the same reaction as I did when we saw Beauty and the Beast. Whereas I was like, I'm just going to enjoy my popcorn. Mm-hmm. You enjoy your movie.
Right.
And then like halfway through, I'm like, this is actually really good.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. So I feel like it's probably safe to assume you don't know anything about Wonder Woman as far as before you saw the movie.
No, I didn't know anything.
Yeah,
I was pleasantly surprised. It was really good.
Because you saw the trailer a long time ago. I showed you the trailer.
Yeah, and I was like, I want to see that.
Yeah,
and I forgot.
Because, I mean, the whole thing with Wonder Woman is this really bugs me. They keep saying it's the first female superhero movie. Mm-hmm. That's not true. There was a Supergirl movie in the 80s. There was Catwoman in 2004 with Halle Berry. And there was Elektra in 2007, I think, with Jennifer Garner, Ben Affleck's wife. They were just all really terrible movies. But since Wonder Woman is good, everybody's like, it's the first superhero movie. And
yeah, that's not fair.
It's the first one in the whole, like, we're building a universe type situation. Because Marvel still hasn't done a female-led superhero movie, and they get a lot of criticism for that. So DC was technically the first ones there. Mm-hmm. So I definitely feel like your opinion is more valuable than mine since you're a woman. And honestly, this movie seems to appeal to a lot of people who maybe don't really know or care about superheroes.
There's a lot of female empowerment, obviously, with the movie.
Yeah.
And I walked out and I was like, okay, I can conquer the world now.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have that feeling?
I mean, yeah, it was a little cliche, but it was really, I really liked the message, and I don't know, it was just so
fun.
It just, yeah, there was just a lot more to it.
Yeah.
As well. I felt like the love story in it was really, really well
I
done
felt it
because
was-
it wasn't overpowering the movie.
Yeah.
They're like the message.
I've actually heard a lot of
necessarily.
people share that opinion, and I think it's the most believable love story in a movie in a long time, as far as something that's not like a romantic comedy.
See, the thing
you
is,
know?
I didn't like the love story part.
Really?
But I did appreciate that it was there because
Yeah.
that's what someone like me,
I
I
thought-
do need a little bit of some in the
Yeah,
movie. But
and that is part of her character in the comics, like the whole Steve Trevor character who brings her to the real world. That's a important part of her story, so you kind of have to have that there. But I really like Chris Pine. He's an actor that I really like, that I think, aside from like the Star Trek movies, hasn't done a lot to show
he was
that.
in the Star Trek
Yeah,
movie.
he was Captain Kirk in
I
Star
was
Trek.
I saw him before, but couldn't remember
He's
what
done like
movie
a
it was.
lot of stuff, but Star Trek was the biggest thing he's done, and now Wonder Woman is actually technically the biggest thing he's done, because I don't think any of the Star Trek movies have made as much money as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But he's one of those actors that I always like. He could be huge, and he's right there, and I hope this is the thing that helps elevate him.
Yeah. I am a teacher during the day, so they're always talking about superheroes and
Yeah.
this. That I'm such a dork, but like I was sitting there, I'm like, that's what my kids need. That's what the little
Have any of
girls
your
need.
kids talked about Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
see, that's
awesome.
great. Because before you were telling me they'd always fight over this one Wolverine toy. And there's
the
a big...
girls were like, I'm Spider-Man, I'm Batman.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I mean, not that they need one, but it would be nice.
But it would be nice.
to not only have Disney princesses, like
Yeah.
to have someone that's gonna kick ass.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and she does kick ass. Like, the
Yes.
action scenes in the movie were super great.
And she wasn't stupid. I feel like in movies they're either pretty or they're strong.
Yeah.
They're not both.
And they even
I felt
made it-
like she was beautiful and she
Yeah.
could kick your ass at the same time.
Yeah, and they actually made a point to show that she's smarter than everyone around
Right.
her, because she's clearly learned a lot on the island. Themyscira, I think, I can never remember how to say it. Themyscira, I think, is where she comes from. But they talk about how she knows all these languages.
Yeah.
She's read all these books, so she knows about sex. So she knows it
Politics.
all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that, and I do like how they don't try to push Steve Trevor as like the tough guy over her. Like, I need to protect you or whatever.
Exactly.
They're on
Yeah, I like
even
that.
playing field the whole time. And like
I just, like-
he knows how powerful she is, so he's willing to step back and be like, yeah, you got
Which
this.
is another thing too. It's good to show that a guy can, kind of step back and let
Yeah.
the woman,
And I like that they never played it for like demasculating him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I really like that too.
Um,
Because while I think it's great for girls and women, I feel like that's also great for a guy too. It just doesn't mean you're any less of a guy because you're letting a woman,
yeah.
do whatever she feels that she can do.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought the fish out of water element was handled really well.
Yeah.
Like when she first gets brought to the world and she's like, it's ugly. And he's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's not for everyone.
Right.
And like the first time she sees a baby, because there's no babies on the
Mm-hmm.
island. So she's like, a baby, and like immediately runs up to it and stuff.
Yeah, I was actually surprised there was some comedy in it.
Yeah,
That's
because
funny.
that's been a problem. I know you haven't seen the other two DC
Mm-hmm.
movies, but Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, the biggest problem with them is they're the most serious movies you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no humor. Everything is just so bleak and dour.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman is supposed to be this character of hope. Like, the S on his chest is not there for Superman. In the movie, they make a point to say it's the Kryptonian symbol for hope. But then that movie's just, there's no color in the movie.
idea.
It's very depressing.
Interesting.
And Wonder Woman is the first one in the franchise.
So S doesn't mean Superman?
No, and I don't know if this is from the
My
comics.
mind
'cause-
is blown right now.
no, I don't know if this is from the comics because I don't read a lot of Superman comics, because to me Superman's a really boring character. I keep trying to find the Superman book that'll pull me in, but none of them have really done it. But in the movie version,
Yeah, it's not a top one that the kids fight over at work.
he's just so boring because he's like, I can do everything, and like I can
Yeah.
fly. I have
I'm also
laser-
surprised Thor is not talked about either.
I mean, he's not very popular in the movies.
Oh, really?
Thor seems to be the one,
It's
because
really Spider-Man or Batman.
well, Spider-Man is one of the most popular comic book characters of all time, and so is Batman.
There's a boy that literally thinks he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, which one?
Anthony.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was always wearing Spider-Man and fights for the
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man toy
everything.
Yeah.
There's literally holes on his Spider-Man shoes. He will not give them away because
because
they
they're
are
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man shoes.
They can get new Spider-Man shoes.
No, those are Spider-Man
Oh,
shoes.
jeez. I mean, Spider-Man is my favorite. I can't wait for that new
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, that's one thing that this movie did, is they finally added some humor, some levity to it. And like, a message.
And again, it wasn't making fun of the woman.
No.
Like, I appreciate that so much.
It was all taken very seriously.
Yeah.
And did you like all the stuff on the island?
Yes.
Like, yeah, because one problem I had with this movie is it's such a small problem is there's a lot of slow motion.
Yeah.
Which is
it's
kind
not a
of
problem to me though. I kind of liked it because
but
I just kind of feel like that's what it should be. And
yeah. Another thing is when they're on the island, they show a lot of the Amazons doing these same kind of jump in the air slow motion flips and stuff, and she does it a lot in combat during the movie. I felt like they came up with this move on set and they're like, yeah, this is going to be our move for the Amazons.
Yeah,
and they kind of use it a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
I didn't notice that too.
So the choreography of the actions felt a little repetitive, but as far as the action, the No Man Land scene where she marches across from the trenches is maybe one of the most powerful moments in a movie I felt in a long time. Like, I heard about, I'm fucking might tear up talking about it right now. I swear to God, I never thought I would like almost cry at this movie, but everybody talked about it going in. So I heard a lot about it, but when she climbs up out of the trench and marches across to allow everyone to go across, it's her first big heroic moment.
Yeah.
And it felt really powerful. Like this is something special. I'm fucking crying right now.
It's funny.
But like, did you have that same, like that moment when, cause they make a big deal out of it.
There was a moment when they were battling. I don't remember.
In the middle, or like during that same sequence, or
well, there was one moment where I'm like, wait, when did she get the shield? Like that was like kind of like
I think that's the same moment.
That was when there was a few times where she just didn't take no for an answer, and I'm a really like. I like to please everyone. I don't like to start tension with anyone.
Yeah.
And so I'm really shy and kind of just go with the flow type person. So that's always something that like I feel self-conscious about when it comes to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know. I found that very inspiring.
Like when he goes to see his bosses and they're like, we just need to calm down because they're going to sign this armistice and it's going to be a ceasefire. And she's like, why is everybody doing this? There's not going to be a ceasefire because Ares isn't going to let them do it, which we haven't really talked about Ares, but we'll get there. Because the whole time she's like, war is caused by Ares. He's the god of war. And that's something from the comics as well, is like the only gods that are around are the ones that people still believe in, which is like war and greed and lust and all that stuff. And she's just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I'm just going to go do this myself.
Yeah.
Like,
it's that kind of thing. But no, when they were like, she was out battling or whatever, they're like, no, don't go out there. Like, you're a woman. Like, you're going to get hurt, going to boo-boo. Like,
it's when they're in the trenches.
That. Like, no, I trained my whole life for this.
Yeah, because he's like, because there's the whole thing with the poison, with Dr. Poison, and he's like, we need to go find the labs and we need to stop this. Everything else can wait. But it's when they're in the trenches that she's like, why is nobody stopping this?
Right.
And he's like, we just need to keep going. And she's like, no, like, I'm just going to do this. And that's when she climbs up.
Right.
And she has her shield.
That was the moment where I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad there's a movie for like if I have a little girl one day. Like, that's the movie that like, okay.
Yeah,
she's got her superhero movie.
It was powerful. And then, they march across.
Even as a grown woman, I was like, get it, girl. You go get it.
Yeah. And, like, she marches across. And then it leads into the next action scene where she's going through the buildings, just taking out all the Nazis. And that was awesome. Like, that's the best part of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But that is the scene we were talking about where she goes across from no man's land is what they call it, the area between the trenches. She just has her shield, and she's kind of using the shield to block the bullets, and then she gets across. And then they cut to the next action scene, and all of a sudden she has her sword. And I'm like, we didn't see anybody carrying the sword.
There was a few times where we're both looking at each other like, did you see her bring it?
I think there's a scene like that at the end, too, where just the editing of the movie was like a little, like you could assume somebody handed her sword off screen, but it is a little weird, like, where did it come from type situation.
And that's the things that I always think about the kids at work. I'm like, they're not thinking about that.
No.
They're thinking of like the basics. Like a woman can kick ass just as much as a man can.
Yeah. And it's great. Like I know nothing about Wonder Woman. I know the basics. I've never read a Wonder Woman comic. I've read Justice League though, and she's a member of the Justice League.
A huge thing for me is I like that they didn't pick someone that's well known.
Yeah.
They could have easily picked someone. I'm just going to use an example. She obviously wouldn't be picked, like J-Lo.
Yeah.
Someone that we all know, and she's hot, and she can kick ass too.
Yeah.
but this woman's obviously beautiful.
Well,
but
I know you like that movie enough.
But what?
I said I know you like that movie enough with J-Lo.
I love that movie. I love J-Lo.
Yeah.
I love her. But like I was saying, I love that this movie just picked someone that wasn't well known. And
yeah, she was a model. Her first movie was actually, I could be wrong on this, it's definitely in her first 3 movies, but was the 4th Fast and the Furious movie. She was in it as kind of a minor character. And then she did 5 and 6, and her character dies in 6. And 7 is where the Fast and Furious franchise became a $1 billion franchise. So she was in a huge franchise before this, but she's still like one of the middle tier characters in that movie. And she hadn't done anything well known. And then she got cast as Wonder Woman, and they did Batman v Superman, and she's in it, but she's not in it very much. And most people walked away from that movie because you've heard me say everybody hates that movie. But everybody walks away from that movie saying Ben Affleck was great as Batman and Gal Gadot was great as Wonder Woman. Like, people wanted more Wonder Woman after Batman v Superman, and that's why this was the perfect one to do next. And they nailed it. Like, they put out 2 really shitty movies and then saved it with this one.
Yeah, I just can't believe just how pleasantly surprised I was.
Yeah, I
walked in like, she's pretty, like, sure, sex sells.
Yeah.
But
she is very pretty.
Yeah, she is. I don't know.
And I never thought I'd hear you say this, but you're like, I like how like sexy her costume was, because I never really thought the Wonder Woman costume was sexy.
I'm obsessed with watching YouTube videos, and I just know that's gonna be just like Harley Quinn was last year. This is gonna be this year. I just
Do you think a lot of people are gonna go?
100%.
I still see a lot of Harley Quinn,
because not only is it like something that everyone's seen, everyone's talking about. It's so easy. Yeah, like her hair was easy, her makeup was easy. I know it's gonna be something that.
Yeah, it's just the outfit.
I'm excited. I want to see the little girls at work being Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't ask you that, because I always love hearing about like your kids and the superhero stuff, because I'm like, that was the first thing came to my mind as soon as I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. This is going to be a movie that like I actually am looking forward to showing my kids. Like,
yeah. And I definitely see a lot of people on Twitter that I follow posting pictures of their kids seeing it and wearing Wonder Woman costumes afterwards and how much they love it. Yeah. But like, I don't have a lot of little kids, and we don't have kids in our family really, and the ones we do have we don't see very often, so I don't really have a window into what kids are into nowadays. So I always love asking you about your students, like, oh, do they like Star Wars? What superheroes do they like?
The girls have something, because there's some of the girls are just like, I don't want to be a Disney princess, like it's just so overplayed.
Yeah.
And
they're not badass enough, you know?
Yeah. Well, I grew up being obsessed with Disney princesses. Because we didn't have someone like that, you know, that could kick ass. And
not on TV, at least. You know? I mean, Wonder Woman's been in the comics since like the 30s, 40s maybe. She's a really old character.
Because like being smart is sexy just as much as having boobs out can be sexy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I would say it's more sexy.
Exactly.
So I'm trying to think of like covering most of the points of the movie. The villain, Ares, like the whole time throughout the movie, we never see him, or we don't know that we see him.
Yeah.
Did you see the twist coming of who it was? I didn't. I heard a lot of people say it was obvious. I didn't really notice.
No, it wasn't. Not to me. It wasn't obvious.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to it. I honestly thought there was never going to be an Ares. Like it was going to be one of those things.
Actually, that was actually one thing. Thinking back, yeah, I didn't think so either.
Yeah, so there's kind of 3 villains in the movie, because there's Dr. Poison, which, what did you feel about the whole face mask thing? And I thought that was kind of an interesting look, but just the character and that whole story wasn't really interesting to me.
No, yeah, same here.
Then there's the general she's working for, whose name I don't even remember, and she gives him that stuff that powers him up, and I thought that was pretty lame.
Yeah.
But I did like when Wonder Woman like killed him. And then she's like, hey, I did it. It's over. But then war is still happening. And she's like, what's going on? You know?
Yeah.
And I like that whole thing. Like, hey, maybe it's just in people. Maybe people are just bad, you know? Because, hey, we kind of are. But,
yeah.
But no, and then I like the reveal of like, he just shows up.
Yeah.
And which that led to another weird edit scene. So because she stabs the sword in the guy on the top, and they have to show her. They cut away to Steve Trevor doing something, and then they cut back and they show her jumping down from the roof just to show like, hey, she went and got the sword. Like I was like, maybe just don't do that if you have to edit it that way. Like it was kind of weird.
I kind of like the cheesy editing a little bit.
Yeah.
Which normally I'm not like that, but I don't know. In my head, I was thinking, God, the kids are gonna love this at work. Like because I wasn't going to see this movie. I was going for you.
Yeah, I was like begging to go see it that weekend.
I was like, okay. Then I was like, okay, I was a little inspired as a grown woman. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, and I was like, okay. Because there's Mason at work, too, that, like, he is just so engulfed in all the superheroes. And I don't know. Just keep thinking about how it's just so great for
Do the boys talk about Wonder Woman as well, or is it just the girls?
Not really.
Yeah.
But the villains have come up a couple times.
Everybody loves the villains.
Yeah.
Everybody loves a bad guy.
Because they're cool.
Yeah.
I can't remember what movie it was, but it was some electric guy that, like, I still think about.
Electro from Spider-Man 2.
He's so cool.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx.
That is so cool.
Everybody shits on that movie. It was successful.
I think about it every now and again. I'm like, that guy was really awesome.
Yeah. He should have been in the movie more. That's really the only thing that I think they fucked up there. But I love that movie. I'll say it. There's never been a bad Spider-Man movie. Everybody shits on the 2 with Andrew Garfield, but I
don't like him.
I didn't like him in the first one. Him and Emma Stone both. I didn't like them in the first one. I really liked them in the second one. I think it was kind of like they were finding themselves in the first one. And by the time the second one came around, I'm like, all right, now they feel like Spider-Man. They feel like Gwen Stacy. Like, I feel like they found the characters. And I'm disappointed we're not going to get a third one with them, because now they're doing this new guy. Because now it's part of the Marvel universe versus it wasn't before, because that's a whole thing. But so Ares showing up at the end, I liked how he like made the armor out of all the stuff, because that's how he looks in the comics. He wears like the old kind of Roman style armor. So I thought that was a cool way to do it without him wearing actual armor. And I like so in the comics, there's 2 different versions of her in the comics. And the movie follows the more recent version where so in the beginning, you remember they said that she was made out of clay.
Yeah.
That's her original origin from like the 30s, is that her mom wanted a daughter, made her out of clay and, magic and gods and blah, blah, blah. In the new version, she's actually the daughter of Zeus. So she is a demigod. And that's the version they did in the movie. And I like how she doesn't know how strong she is throughout the movie. And you get kind of hints.
I like that too.
And I wasn't really picking up on it because I wasn't thinking about it. Like, I knew that she was like a demigod, but I wasn't like picking up on, she doesn't realize how strong she is.
Yeah.
Because there's the scene in the beginning where she accidentally clangs her bracelets and it creates that shockwave when she's training.
Yeah.
And then I like her like realizing it at the end. And all of a sudden she just is like super fast and takes out all these guards and she's able to pick up a tank and stuff. Like, I thought that was really awesome.
That was cool.
And it's interesting because in Batman v Superman, there's a line. She only shows up a little bit in that movie. She's kind of peppered throughout the movie. And then she joins in the final battle at the end. And they're fighting this big monster or whatever. And she has a line saying that she's killed gods before or whatever. So it's kind of like tying back to that movie. And it's just cool to see it happen. There was some weird editing during the scene where she is... Again, there's just weird editing in this movie where she is taking out all those guards. She's moving super fast. It's just kind of stylized in like an interesting way. I don't know how much of that you liked or whatever.
I liked most of it, but I mean, it was comical just because there was obviously times where we looked at the show, we're like, okay.
Yeah, it gets a little cheesy.
That was weird, yeah.
And like the editing stuff was a little weird. What'd you think of the side characters? Like the guys that they pick up, like the Indian dude who's kind of joking about like, wait, there's an island full of women, and like.
No, I liked it. See, that made it funny.
Yeah, I liked them too, and I heard people shit talking those characters, and I was like, they were fun.
That. I feel like you need that.
Yeah, and they do have the sniper guy who seems to be pretty shell shocked. Like,
I feel like if you're gonna have a movie dark, where the majority of the movie is dark, you should have some comedy.
Yeah.
And I feel like with every movie there should be a little bit of romance, and I feel like it was done really well.
Yeah, and it's World War I, which is a war that's not really covered a lot in pop culture. And World War I was terrible. Like, it's the bloodiest war of all time. And you need that to kind of lift the spirits of this movie. And I thought it was done really well. And same thing with Steve Trevor's assistant, that girl. Like, I saw a lot of people on Twitter like really latching onto that character, and I was surprised. Like, I thought she was funny.
No, I like the side characters.
Yeah. Like, I really like the scene where they're trying on the clothes.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yes.
And she walks out.
I was actually talking to one of my coworkers about that because she didn't realize that she's like attractive.
Yeah.
or that like you should wear anything other than armor.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great.
They're like, oh, put the glasses on, and his assistant's like, yeah, like putting glasses on won't make her the most beautiful woman in the world.
Exactly.
And then how she just walks out holding the sword and shield. Like, that stuff was fucking awesome. And
it was great. You need that in that kind of movie. And
yeah.
It was so.
It was
well
something.
done.
It was something I said to you after we left the theater, and like the way this kind of state of the world is in right now, I was like, it's the movie we needed right now.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
it's
and that's
so.
what everyone's kind of been saying. Like, we needed that.
And I definitely think this movie came out at the perfect time. And aside from it being a good movie and being a surprise to a lot of people, I think that helped with the box office. Like, currently we're sitting, the movie's made almost $660 million basically, and it's awesome. Like, the movie deserves it, and the director Patty Jenkins deserves it. And I guess the good thing with her is they only signed her on for one movie, so now she gets to negotiate for the next one. So if they want her to direct the next one,
I hope Gal gets something.
Yeah, her deal was really shitty. That came out recently.
No, I mean like award wise.
Oh,
I hope she gets something.
I hope so. With superhero movies, The Dark Knight's the only one that's ever been awarded anything for Heath Ledger, which, I mean, he deserved it, but
it just looked like she put a lot of work into it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
I actually like how, so she has her Israeli accent, how they gave all of the other Amazons on Themyscira the same accent.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to like, maybe she can't do a different accent, but they can. So
I think it was just different. I feel like it was very foreign. And,
and it was a good decision. It makes them, like, it would have been actually lame if everybody just spoke English or fake British or something.
I always feel like that adds to your
like your resume.
It just adds to your person. Like, I can't think
your
of the
character.
word. Yeah, it just as a person. Like Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
If she didn't have her adorable accent.
Oh my god.
Like, she would be a little bit less attractive because I feel like she's
like, who would
adorable.
care?
Or like Penelope Cruz.
Yeah, she's got a very distinct accent as well.
Exactly, they're distinct, and it's what makes them.
It's something I noticed watching this movie. I think Gal Gadot's accent really works for her, and
it does.
Honestly, it does make her a little more attractive. Like when she's talking,
it makes her. It has like where she can be sexy and sweet. I feel like that kind of. And obviously, she has brains. I don't know much about her as a person, but
she seems pretty smart.
She's obviously very beautiful, and then the accent just makes her so like cute.
And for being somebody who just, I mean, she's not that she's the only model to ever get into acting.
Right.
She's very good, and to play such a high-profile character with very little experience. I mean, at this point, she's had more experience because she has done a lot more stuff, but. I think she's really good in the Fast and Furious movies. I haven't seen her in anything else. She really nailed the emotions you should be feeling at that time. Like when she's mad at everybody for not doing what seems so obvious to her. And like when she's like, you were lying? Like, why were you lying? He's like, I'm a spy. It's what I do. You know, like she nails the delivery each time. And I haven't heard anybody.
That's why it was so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because it was so believable.
Yeah. I haven't heard anybody say a bad thing about her through this. I mean, if you're going to ask me, yes, she should get an award for it.
Yeah.
I think sadly the Oscars will ignore it because they normally do superhero movies, but
which is so unfortunate.
It is. I think honestly the only reason Heath Ledger won the award, even though he was deserving of it, was because he died. Because honestly, if he didn't die, the Academy Awards might not have acknowledged it. No. Because that movie wasn't even nominated for Best Picture, but they nominated him for Best Actor. Which I watched it again the other day, and it's just fucking incredible. Oh. And he's so good in it.
Yeah. He was amazing in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gal was awesome in the movie.
Yeah, no, she was great. And I'm now interested in Wonder Woman, which is something I wasn't before.
I'm not a superhero person. I mean, I want to be just because I grew up on the other side of everything. I'm very like Disney princess and
you
Disney
grew up
in general.
a little girl.
I don't know who would have thought. But I love this whole other world. I'm obviously just kind of dabbling in it, but I love that there's like something that can kind of.
Yeah, it's something for you now. Like you can sit there and be like, "Oh, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Batman."
Doesn't really do anything for me.
I feel like you just need to see the right versions of Catwoman.
Maybe.
I will say I really enjoy Catwoman, and she is the one true love for Batman, and I will always. Currently in the comics, Batman proposed to her, and that's like a big deal.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for that stuff. But yeah, they made that Catwoman movie with Halle Berry, and it's the worst piece of garbage you'll ever see. It's such a bad movie. And then they've had that character in other movies and they've just never done her super well. Anne Hathaway did okay in the Dark Knight movie that she did.
I forgot she did that.
Yeah, because you haven't seen that one.
No.
You just saw The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
She was good, like, because they never really call her Catwoman or whatever. She's just Selena Kyle, which is the character's name. But she actually did a pretty good job, but not as good as Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I will say that. And I'll watch anything they put her in at this point. Like, I think that Justice League movie looks really
like
terrible.
It's in no time she'll be A-list.
Oh yeah, if this hasn't already made her A-list, I don't know what will.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this is it's a built-in franchise. She's already.
Yeah, I want her to be. I'm not a huge fan of Scarlett Johansson, but I want her to be like kind of in the same group.
Yeah,
where she is a badass.
Scarlett Johansson's never got her own movie based on the character, and that's been kind of a bummer.
No, but like she's been in movies where, like, I'm not a huge fan of her, but I'm not gonna say she's not a good actress. I mean, she's
fantastic.
She's a really good.
I am
actress.
a big fan of her, and I'll say she's a fantastic actress.
She's a good actress.
Yeah.
Or like
Charlize Theron. Yeah. And she's got that action movie coming out real soon, Atomic Blonde. That looks incredible. I can't wait to see that.
I'm a huge fan of her. So
yeah, and she's A-list.
Yeah. Oh god, 100%.
Well, she's an Oscar winner too. She won for Monster. I always forget about that. Oh, I can't watch that. I can't watch that movie.
It was. It was great.
I think Gal Gadot is somebody who could easily win an Oscar one day. I don't know if it'll be for Wonder Woman, but I look forward to seeing what she does. And
is she older?
I don't think so. I think she's early 30s. I would, because I mean, I know with the like the DC movies in particular, they're trying to cast around a certain age because they wanted Henry Cavill, the guy who plays Superman. She's 32.
Okay.
Henry Cavill. That's
kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, Henry Cavill, I think, is like 30, 33, somewhere in that range. But Ben Affleck, they wanted an older Batman, so they were very specific about their ages. So I assumed she was supposed to be around Superman's age. So they're in their 30s. But yeah, I mean, they're doing Wonder Woman 2. They've already said that.
Really?
Yeah, and she was already in Batman v Superman, and you haven't seen that, and it's a very bad movie, so I would never force it on you. But she was kind of the one good part of that movie, so maybe just watch all of her scenes on YouTube. And she's going to be in Justice League because she's part of Justice League, and that movie looks like hot garbage. But honestly, with her being in it, I'm more interested. And Ben Affleck, because
anything with Ben in it, I'll watch.
I know you're a big fan of him. And again, you haven't seen Batman v Superman, but he's a good Batman. He was actually really good.
Honestly.
Like the way everybody was skeptical.
Human.
I think me and you were two of the only people that weren't skeptical about him being cast as Batman.
No, I loved it.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and honestly, everyone shits on Henry Cavill as Superman, but I actually think
why he looks like a Superman.
He is, and the thing
he
is,
looks like a living Barbie doll.
The thing is, I think he could be a good Superman, but the movies they've put him in with the directors who have been handling it have been bad. So I think he will be a good Superman one day when they let him actually be Superman. Because Man of Steel, it was too serious, and the same problem with Batman v Superman. And Superman's supposed to be a lighthearted character, and I think he's just had bad directors, but I think he has potential. But do you have anything else to say about Wonder Woman? I know we've been talking for like a half hour here about this.
I could talk forever. I really was just so pleasantly surprised. I mean,
yeah,
I thought everything was. It just was well done. Like I said, like the percentage of things that I like things like the romance. It wasn't the whole movie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Oh, what did you think about the fact that they killed him?
I thought that was stupid, but again, I wasn't crazy with the romance part, so it wasn't like, huge to me. I liked the fact that the villain revealed himself at the end.
Yeah. I knew they would have to kill him because Batman v Superman takes place in the modern day, and this is World War I, and obviously they can't come up with some stupid reason for him to be in the future. So I'm like, well, he eventually has to die. I
wasn't super crazy about his character, so
I liked him a lot. What do you think about the sex jokes about like where she first sees him and she's like, "Are you an average representation of men?" And he's like, above average."
Yeah.
Like I thought that stuff was I thought it was gonna be cheesy. I'm like, oh, are they really gonna go for this joke? But I thought it was really funny.
I loved it.
And then the whole scene on the boat with them, like, why won't you come lay next to me?
Yeah.
And the whole hinting of like he finds her attractive because
The
who
whole, like,
wouldn't?
sleeping together.
Yeah.
Her mind was like, she's just gonna sleep.
Yeah.
Whereas in our world,
Yeah, and
that
he's
can
like
mean something else too.
He's like, no, he's like trying to be a nice guy, but he's like, hey, you want me to come sleep next to you? I'll come sleep next to you.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid. Yeah, like,
if you're giving me permission, sure.
yeah, I really love that stuff. I thought the relationship stuff was well handled. Like, it's something that obviously has to be in the movie.
I think you actually went to the bathroom during that part, but they got a little cheesy.
Yeah, I did.
When
like
the
I
snow
know
was falling.
Yeah,
but
and that was kind of why
that little cheesiness in there, so.
And that was why I felt like I could go to the bathroom, because I'm like, all right, here comes the cheesy stuff.
Exactly.
Like, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But then I think they go to Bone Town after that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Bone Town.
Yeah. I made sure not to miss that part. It was really surprising, like, especially coming off of the last two movies, which were complete shit.
In my head, coming off of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, because we saw that together.
Oh, that was horrible.
I don't know if we ever talked about it on this show, but yeah, that was like, because
I shouldn't have said. I really don't have like anything good to say about it.
No, I mean, the only thing I'll say is, if I was more confident knowing that we could get our money back for buying an online ticket, we would have walked out. Which we kind of did. There was, like, as soon as the villain was dead, I was like, all right, let's get the fuck out.
Did
like,
we leave early?
Yeah, we left like 10 minutes early.
But again, like I was saying, coming off that movie,
yeah,
in my head I was like, oh,
which
God.
the trailers for that movie
Take much to be better than that movie.
The trailers for that movie looked really good.
The trailers were so good, and then
it was the worst movie I've ever seen.
The best parts were in the trailer.
Yeah, and those parts turned out to not even be that good in the movie.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the stuff in the trailer wasn't even in the movie.
I'm a huge Will Smith fan.
Yeah, he was the one
It
part
was
I thought.
horrible.
He was the one part I thought was good.
It was so stupid. No, I didn't like it.
Him and Margot Robbie, I was semi okay with.
I liked Margot. I love her as an actress. I think she's really,
she's really great.
Yeah, she's
Wolf of Wall
awesome.
Street is an awesome movie.
Oh my gosh, one of my favorites.
And
but I think because the thing is, I go into these movies not knowing anything about anything. I'm literally just going
these kind of movies being like comic book movies, or
yeah. So I was going there, I'm just watching the movie as a movie. I don't know anything about anything. And then so I was just looking at her as like, God, she's so annoying. And then later to find out her character is annoying.
Yeah.
So she did an amazing job as an actress. She did her job.
No,
she's supposed to be that annoying.
Harley Quinn is one of my favorite characters from the comic books, and I thought she did I thought she was there like 95%. Like, she had the look, which the look is actually changed drastically in the comics, and they call her Hooker Harley now, and most people aren't a fan of that, because I don't know if you've seen like the Jester outfit. It's kind of her normal outfit. Like, when they started making the video games, they started kind of sexualizing her a lot more. So the movie,
that's the thing I didn't like about. I get really creeped out when anything like baby like is sexualized. That just creeps me out.
Batman is not baby like.
No,
he's serious comics.
No,
like her character. Yeah,
she's very like.
Well, she's like Mr. J.
Yeah,
and
she's
stuff
very
like
whiny. And she acts stupid and like.
Yeah, but see, in the comics, her character.
And she has the pigtails. Like, it's very like childish and just creeps me out.
If you think that's funny, there's a in the comic book where they explained her origin, there's a scene where she's talking to Joker and she's like, "Come on, Mr. J, don't you want to rev up your Harley?" and like talking about having sex. And I'm like, this is a kid's book. Like,
no, that's so creepy.
Yeah, but it's
all
just
she needs to do is call him daddy, and I'm just gone.
Yeah,
done. Bye.
Like I said, she was 95% for me. It just didn't feel all the way there. But she was introduced in the cartoon that was on in the 90s, and that cartoon is like the Bible for people like me. And she became such a popular character, they put her in the comics. So it's just one of those things that's really hard to live up to.
Well,
like,
she's hot.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
and I thought
obviously got me there. Well, Will Smith.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then
so
Jared Leto's horrible impression of the
so
Joker.
Bad. Oh, that was so bad.
I thought he was doing like the worst Heath Ledger impression.
No, I wouldn't even say that. He was doing his own impression.
It was really terrible.
He was great.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, Jack Nicholson did it in the 80s in the movie in 89.
Oh, God, I could see him being great.
And he was really good.
Was
so,
it good?
Yeah. So, the first Batman movie came out in 89, and Jack Nicholson was the Joker. Yeah. It was your birth year. And he was great. And then when they announced Heath Ledger, everybody was like, no way, nobody could beat Jack Nicholson's Joker, blah, blah, blah. Now nobody even gives a fuck about Jack Nicholson's Joker. It's all about Heath Ledger. And so when they did the Jared Leto thing, I'm like, you know what? Everybody doubted Heath Ledger. Let's see what they do. And then they put out the picture of what he looked like. And I was like, what is this? Joke. Covered in the tattoos. Yeah. And everybody called him Hot Topic Joker, which was a perfect, I think, explanation.
I like the story.
Yeah, because he's like got all the stupid tattoos.
He looks like a dork.
Yeah. And he's got the damaged tattoo on his forehead. And
so stupid.
It was just like in the trailers, he seemed like, okay, maybe he'll be okay. Like, let's see how it goes. But then you see the movie and it's like, oh my God, is this really what he's doing? Like, it was so bad.
I thought everything about the way he looked, his performance, everything was. It was almost like, are you trying to be the worst version of this character?
And he's an Oscar-winning actor. Or he got nominated.
He's probably great. It just wasn't his movie or his role.
Isn't he like the lead singer of like 30 Seconds to Mars or some shit?
Idea.
He's a singer.
I know nothing about any.
Yeah, he's like a singer
who
became an actor.
Margot was that
Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
She's done a few other things.
Well, she really didn't do much in the movie.
She actually did another
downright beautiful. Oh my God.
She actually did another movie with Will Smith where they're like con artists and then she's conning him or something.
That's one that's out now, right?
It came out a few years ago. She is in something new right now, right?
Yeah, I thought so.
I don't remember. I haven't seen her or anything.
It's like an action movie.
Is she?
I thought so.
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I know what's her name. We were just talking about Charlize Theron has that new movie coming out.
Maybe it's her.
Yeah, she has that Atomic Blonde movie. So. Oh, she did that new Tarzan movie, which I heard was really bad. Yeah, she did a movie with Will Smith called Focus. That was like he was a con artist and he trained her or something, and then she like started to con him or something. It was. I didn't hear much about it. I do kind of want to see it. I don't know. She's got something called Terminal.
Who, Margot or Charlize?
Yeah, Margot. Charlize Theron has that Atomic Blonde movie. I wonder if that's maybe what you're thinking of.
Maybe.
I showed you the trailer for that where she's like a spy and she's kicking people's ass.
Yeah, maybe it was
Yeah,
her.
that was Charlize Theron. I fucking can't wait to see that movie. It looks so good. Great. Yeah. Man, we kind of trailed off after talking about Wonder Woman.
About another movie now.
I mean, it's all in the same universe at least. So are you interested in seeing Justice League just because Wonder Woman's in it? Like
Kind of.
Kind of,
yeah. Well, I always, or like nowadays, I kind of want to see them because like, just because the kids at work. It's nice to
so you can like relate to them a little bit.
Like, yeah, there's a couple times where I'm just like, no, you're wrong. Because I only have an idea of like a little bit that I know from my childhood because I really didn't get into any of this.
And you've seen The Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. You've seen Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know if you've seen it. I think you've seen some of the other Spider-Man movies, right? Like I think you saw Spider-Man 3.
Did I fall asleep during them?
Probably.
Did I actually watch them?
Probably.
That's the thing, though.
I'm pretty sure you saw Spider-Man 3 in theaters because I was all mad because you saw it without me.
Spider-Man 3?
That was like 2007, so who knows? I thought you went with Rosa way back in the day.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, and you've never even seen like the other Batman movies, so. And yeah, Superman. I don't think you've ever seen a Superman movie, which most of those are not very good. So. I know.
I do like the guy that plays Thor.
Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, we saw Avengers. We saw Avengers in theaters.
Did we?
Yeah, you fell asleep for a good portion of it.
Which one's the one with Robert Downey Jr.?
Oh, we saw Iron Man 2.
Love that movie.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He is.
He's one of my favorite actors.
I kind of want you to watch Doctor Strange because it's got the actress in it you really like.
I just don't know if I'd really get into it.
So what's her name?
Emma.
Rachel McAdams.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel McAdams is in it.
She looks like an Emma.
And Benedict Cumberbatch, the actor who plays Doctor Strange, he is Robert Downey Jr. level meant to play that character. Like, he's very good.
Is he though?
Yeah, he is. He's really great. And he's a great actor. He's been in a million things, and he's one of my favorite actors of this generation.
He has a huge fan base.
Yes, he does. And he deserves
Cumber
it.
bitches.
Yeah. And he deserves it.
Love it.
He's so good. I don't watch Sherlock. Your sister's a big fan of Sherlock.
Yeah.
But he was in the second Star Trek movie, so we saw that one in theaters. He was in Doctor Strange, obviously. He did a couple Oscar-nominated movies the last couple years. He's really great, and he's so charismatic in that movie. And it's kind of the same movie as the first Iron Man, just with magic instead of armor. So, because the whole thing is he's like a sorcerer, and the special effects on the magic are fucking awesome. And they do these crazy like entering other dimensions and twisting around the world type special effects that are so fucking awesome that I think you'd just be like, whoa, like the whole time you watch it. Whoa. In the ending, the problem with a lot of these comic book movies is they all have the same fucking ending where it's like, oh, like Suicide Squad, some crazy blue light is shining into the sky and it's going to cause ultimate destruction unless they stop it. And Doctor Strange takes a totally different interpretation where he's talking to a character from another dimension and they play it for comedy. And it's like, I kind of just want to tell you this scene because I don't know if I'm ever going to get you to watch this movie, but
probably not.
The whole thing is he creates a time loop, and because they go to the villain of the movie is this interdimensional creature called Dormammu, and he lives in a dimension where there's no time. And the whole thing is this villain is summoning him to Earth, and that's going to destroy the Earth. And so Doctor Strange goes to this guy's dimension, and he comes up and he's like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And he's talking to this giant evil face in the sky, and it kills him. And then Doctor Strange walks back up, and he's like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And starts repeating, and all of a sudden, Dormammu keeps killing him. And all of a sudden, he starts to realize what's going on. He's like, wait, what's happening? He's like, I brought something to your dimension that you don't have, time. And basically, there's this spell they talk about if you could create a time loop. So basically what he does is he's looped time, and he's trying to bargain with Dormammu, saying like, hey, leave Earth alone and I'll take this away. But Dormammu is like, no, I'm just going to keep killing you. So he just keeps killing Benedict Cumberbatch over and over again. And he just comes up like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain. And he just kills him. And it gets to the point where he's like, stop it. And then he's like, no, I told you I've come to bargain. And it's kind of like, oh shit, he fucking like beat him. And it's just such a great moment. And we were totally talking about Wonder Woman. So yeah, do you have anything else? You really like the movie?
I did.
And you actually would see Justice League because of her?
I think so, yeah.
All right, well, that movie looks really bad, but it's a comic movie, so I know I'm going to see it anyway.
We should probably go see it then. It looks horrible.
I see every comic movie.
You
I
see
have
every movie.
to. Not every movie. We haven't seen one in a little bit.
Yeah, we saw the dog movie.
Oh, God. Yeah, Megan Levy. Yeah, I guess I just tried to...
a tearjerker.
Oh, my God. You were straight up sobbing in the movie theater.
I cheered up a little bit.
You had to leave to collect yourself and come back. And that movie was so bad.
That was their goal, okay? And
it was.
Succeeded.
And you know what? It was a really bad movie, but it was sad. But
it was a really bad movie, though. I will give you that.
Oh my God!
So stupid.
You were so funny. Yeah. All right. Well, maybe we'll see Justice League then when it comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to support all the comic movies just because, like, this is what I grew up reading, and it's amazing that I get to see it on the screen, even if it does suck. But who knows? Maybe they'll surprise us. That movie's kind of going through some interesting reshoots right now, so maybe they'll fix it. Because the trailers do not look promising. But, yeah, honestly, Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, and Ben Affleck, Batman will bring me into that movie.
Yeah.
All right. So, anything else to say? I think we've pretty much exhausted everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for talking Wonder Woman with me. And I recommend everybody go see it while it's still in theaters. Because it is still out at the time of this recording, even though we're recording this like 4 weeks later. All right. Well, thank you for talking. And thank everybody else for listening.
Bye.